It's another special television presentation. Well, not really. It's just Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Good Tuesday to you, 19th day of July, 2022. I am Dan Kuntz. Thanks for starting your day with us. And we have a jam-packed four-star program. I don't normally do five-star shows on Tuesdays. It's in my contract. We'll give you the latest update on the Stamen Flats fire. It's pretty much good news. We're going to show you a live shot from our PTZ camera. The evacuation levels are the same as they were last night at 10:30. Things settled down a great deal overnight. Things are looking pretty good right now. Again, we're going to give you a live shot and give you the latest info that we have on the Stamen Flats fire. Toned out about 2:35 yesterday afternoon, and a lot of firefighters from a lot of agencies tackled that baby. We'll get to that. As you might imagine, that's going to be our top news story today, plus other fires we need to talk about, but not of the wildfire variety. Very exciting home run derby last night. The Mariner rookie sensation, Julio Rodriguez, went all the way to the finals. Didn't win it, but still, we'll take that. We got highlights of that coming up. Of course, now this is kind of the dead time for the Mariners. Didn't play yesterday, All-Star game today. They got tomorrow off as well, and they're going to see if they can keep that 14-game winning streak rolling when they host Houston at T-Mobile Park. We'll talk a little baseball, including Apple Sox as well. And in the back half of the program, you remember yesterday's show, we had Thad Duvall on, the Douglas County Auditor. They're in charge of elections. Today it's Skip Moore's turn, the Chelan County Auditor. So you Chelan County registered voters, so what you need to know about the August 2nd primary from Skip's perspective will come your way in the back half of the program. Beautiful day, lots of sunshine, calm wind, 63 degrees, and just nothing but sunshine and warm temperatures as far as the eye can see for your forecast. We'll get to that too. In the meantime, let's go. What do we have out there? We have that from our Wenatchee Heights camera. Day's getting just a little bit shorter, almost imperceptible for many people. Sunrise this morning was at 5:24, just about an hour and a half ago. Sunset tonight, 8:50. That buys us 15 hours and 26 minutes of daylight. Cooler than normal yesterday. Our normal high for this time of the year, July 19th, July 18th, 19th, 20th, right around there, is about 89 degrees. We only hit 85 yesterday. To me, it was about as perfect a day as you could be, unless you were living up in the Knapp's Hill, Stamen Flats area, then perhaps not so much. Good morning to the Wenatchee Valley. And again, the Columbia River is as high as I can remember it ever being in this part of the summertime. Camera number 2. That is a live shot of the Stamen Flats fire from our Stamen Flats camera, I believe. And as you can see, not a lot going on there. The footage that we're going to show you from yesterday afternoon when it got going, compared to what you're seeing right now, is like night and day. Things look very quiet up right there on the Stamen Flats fire. Again, we're going to give you the latest information when we get to the news here, which is not too far away, but it doesn't look like anything is going on right now. Don't even see any smoke. Camera number 3. Another view of, I don't know what camera that is. Is that McNeil Canyon? So that is pointed kind of towards the Stamen Flats fire. It's tucked over that ridge there. That's the Chelan Butte that you see pretty much in the middle of your screen. Lake Chelan's just out of view to your far right. So there's still there's funny, is we have level 3 and level 1 evacuations. We don't have any level 2 evacuations. And even the areas that are on level 3 are pretty sparsely populated, all things considered. Again, updates coming up in camera 4. Union Valley? I'm guessing. That's Union Valley. Okay, good morning. Lake Chelan. Again, you don't see any real smoke at all from the fire that broke out yesterday. In fact, the lake looks nice and placid and calm from Union Valley, high above the north shore of Lake Chelan. People have been already inquiring, is the Knapp's Hill Tunnel open 97A? Yes, it is. But if you don't have to take it, don't, so the firefighters can get the elbow room that they need. As far as the forecast is concerned, it's pretty simple. Sunshine, warm temperatures. We're going to start we're starting getting from warm to downright hot here. We're going to be about 10 degrees warmer today. We're going to get up to about 94. Again, we hit 85 on Monday. 64 for the overnight low. We get even warmer still on Wednesday, up to 97. Thursday, another seasonably hot day. I have about 94. Again, lower 60s for the overnight low. A little bit of a cool down, but not really much on Friday. A weak cold front comes in, and I mean weak. It's going to cool us down like 1 degree. and back up to 94, 95, and 99 on Monday. And you folks out in the Columbia Basin on Wednesday, tomorrow, and up in Omak, those two areas could get to triple digits. We're probably not going to get to triple digits down here in the Wenatchee Valley. And the best news of all, very little wind in the valley. Columbia Basin is going to have a little bit of wind on Wednesday, tomorrow, as that weak cold front comes in, but not so much here in the Wenatchee Valley. But out in the Columbia Basin, Ephrata, Moses Lake, Quincy, you might get a little breezy in addition to the hot temperatures and dry relative humidity on Wednesday. Very little wind, light variable wind here in the Wenatchee Valley, with the exception of tonight. Little light wind here and there tonight, and that's really all we need to worry about. All right, that was an easy forecast. I wish I could always be that easy. It's 6 minutes after the hour. After a break, we'll come back with your Tuesday morning news, and there's a lot to get to. It's right around the corner. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Let Mary Maid's custom cleaning experts help you clean up your to-do list. Between work, kids, and pets, it's hard to find time to keep up. Let Mary Maids of Wenatchee help. Mary Maid's cleaning experts can help keep your home or business fresh, neat, and exactly how you'd clean it if you only had the time. Call now for a free estimate, 509-663-1710. Serving Chelan and Douglas counties. Mary Maids, let us help. The Clearwater Saloon and Casino has the best Vegas-style games in East Wenatchee. Come enjoy yourself and discover the nightly action. Win big and meet new friends at the Clearwater Saloon and Casino.
My name is Anaisa Lemus, and I teach at John Newberry Elementary. I had a tooth in the front that was just always causing me problems. It was just happening so regularly. I went to go get a root canal done, and the root canal didn't help a whole lot because then it came back. Both of my parents went to Dr. Divis's office. They really recommended him because he had done such a great job on their teeth. I went and really have had a really pleasant experience with him. He just made me feel really at ease with everything. He was really confident with what he was doing. He said, this is one of his favorite parts of his job, which really made it easier for me because, when you're really passionate about something, they're going to do a good job. As a teacher, my students, I'll tell them randomly sometimes, oh yeah, with my fake tooth, they're always so shocked. Like, what? It looks like your real tooth. And I'm really happy with the results now.
This is Dr. John Divis. Please call us today.
8 minutes after the hour, lots of sunshine, 64 degrees, about 30 degrees warmer. For the afternoon high, right around 94, we'll be hovering into the 90s, sometimes mid, sometimes upper, sometimes lower, but that 90-degree mark is going to be prevalent for the foreseeable forecast future and lots of sunshine. Let's give you the latest on the Stamen Flats fire that was toned out yesterday afternoon, shortly after 2:30. That is what the scene was like at about 3:15 yesterday afternoon. We have a PTZ camera, a couple of them, in the general area of the Stamen Flats fire. And as you can see, once it got a toehold, it took off. Pretty much every firefighting agency from not only the north central Washington area, but the DNR firefighters were all over this fire as quick as they possibly could. It's still at about 750 acres. Now to this daylight, they'll do another map. But as you can see, it really got going. As far as evacuations are concerned, it hasn't changed from about 10:30 last night. This is the map of the evacuation level. The level 3 evacuations, that's the most serious ones. That's still Downey Canyon Road and Hawks Ridge Road. That's the red area that you see. As far as level 1 evacuations are concerned, Highway 97A is open from the Knapp's Hill Tunnel to Downey Canyon Road, but there is still level 1 evacuations on the east side of 97A from the time you get through the Knapp's Hill Tunnel to the time you get down to Chelan. Level 1 evacuation still on Stamen Flats Road from basically the beginning of Stamen Flats Road to the end of that road. That applies to the north side of the road in that area. It's at the bottom of your screen. Little Butte Ranch Road, Chuckery Hill Road, and all roads off of Hawks Meadow Road, Chucker Run, and Eagle Crest Road, and Dove Hollow Road are all under level 1 evacuations. To our knowledge, nobody has been injured and no structures have been lost. Again, the areas that have a level 3 evacuation notices are quite sparsely populated. We'll keep a close eye on the Stamen Flats Road fire. And if anything develops in the not-too-distant future, we will give you those details. Let's move forward. Speaking of fires, a Chelan teen suffered third-degree burns. He's currently hospitalized at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle after the teenager allegedly set fire to a small barn at the Chelan Rodeo grounds. This happened on Sunday afternoon. Chelan County Sheriff's Office Chief of Operations Kyle Foreman said the fire followed a reported car theft in Chelan at about 12:30 on Sunday afternoon. He said the victim spotted the stolen car about an hour later driving up Union Valley Road towards the fairgrounds. Well, Foreman said as deputies arrived, the 17-year-old male fled on foot, leaving a 28-year-old Wenatchee woman behind. She was detained by deputies. Foreman said the teen ran into a small barn, locked himself inside, and then set hay on fire. He said after deputies forced entry to the barn, the sudden burst of oxygen on the fire generated a flash that knocked the deputies backward. He said the badly burned teenager ran a short distance and then finally surrendered. Chelan firefighters were able to keep the fire from spreading to nearby brush and other structures. Foreman said the deputies were checked at the local Chelan hospital. They were released. The unidentified teen faces charges of possessing a stolen vehicle and arson. Foreman says he believes that the teenager is in stable condition, again, at Harborview Medical Center. A fire on a Sunday morning destroyed the inside of an apartment unit in Manson, but it was kept from spreading by a neighbor who used a garden hose. The Manson Volunteer Fire Association said residents were able to escape the fire without injuries. This happened about 4:30 in the morning on Sunday, just off Chandler Road. Most of their possessions, unfortunately, were damaged or destroyed. The occupants are being assisted by the Red Cross. Firefighters from both Manson and Chelan responded to find the neighbor had knocked down the fire with a garden hose from the exterior. The city of Leavenworth has a brand new city administrator. Took him a while too, but somebody's going to be managing the day-to-day affairs of the Bavarian Village. His name is Matthew Selby. He was selected from one of 2 finalists who interviewed with the city council and members of the community last month. Selby has previously worked in municipal management posts in Yakima, Ashland, Oregon, and Massachusetts. Leavenworth has been without a day-to-day city manager since November. Selby officially begins work on August 1st. His annual salary, about $154,000. And the city of Wenatchee expected to spend about $1.2 to $1.6 million to renovate and repair and upgrade the aging city pool, but the only bidder offering to do the job is asking for almost $2.1 million. The city has more than $800,000 in state grants to pay for the project. They're seeking $350,000 more. Parks and Recreation Director Dave Erickson told City Council members Thursday night that they could seek other bids, but even in a best-case scenario, the earliest the work could start would be the spring of 2023.
Assuming we accept the Department of Commerce grant and we don't get any other money, based on the bid that we received, the state would then contribute $833,500 to the project, and we would be on the hook then for a little over $1.3 million currently. If the scope change is approved, then the state would be providing almost $1.2 million, and we'd have to then provide about $975,000 based on the current bid.
By the way, the city council is not going to take any action on what to do about the city pool until August. And that's the headlines at 14 minutes after the hour. It was a nice quiet news day yesterday until about 2:45. Then everything went crazy. Hopefully that won't happen today, but we will have a newscast for you at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, so you can be an informed viewer. We think it's important. And with the preview, the anchor, Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, hot today and getting hotter by the time we get into the weekend. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Granstrom will have a look at the Mariners, the Major League Baseball Home Run Derby last night, and more on tonight's All-Star Game. Also, you'll have an update on the Apple Sox. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. And don't forget, if you have a news tip or if you want to chime in and say hi, we'd have no problem with that. In fact, we encourage it. You can go to our Facebook page and use the Messenger app. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, or if you go to our brand new homepage at ncwlife.com, you can get a hold of us that way as well. When we come back, sports, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of home runs. And we're going to show you the home run derby, too. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Bob's Burgers and Brews in East Wenatchee. Come enjoy great food, great service, and a great time. Only the best for our guests. We look forward to serving you. Stop on by today.
The NCW Life Channel offers marketing packages that help you build your brand and sell your products and services. From traditional TV ads to targeted digital campaigns, let us help you build your customer base. Call NCW Life Channel today.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether, we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
"17 minutes after the hour, Julio Rodriguez hit 81 home runs during the home run derby last night, which was good for second. Yeah, second. He put on a show that captured the nation last night, but Seattle's rookie center fielder came up just short in the finals to Juan Soto. He got off to a great start. He beat Corey Seager in the first round rather handily.
So J-Rod will lead things off. Seager will have an eye on him. And this is a ballpark that plays fair. The first pitch is down, and he swings and misses at it and got a smile on his face. Well, there you go, and that's home run number 1 of this derby. And it's pretty far up into those left field seats. And there goes another one. And he is going to come up short on his third, but he's got 2 out of the gate. And he pulls that one foul. Line shot here, 5 seconds to go with 31, 32, and he will shut it down there. What a start to this derby. 32 shots for Julio Rodriguez and a standing ovation.
Major League Baseball fans, I present you from the great Northwest, representing the Seattle Mariners and the Dominican Republic, Julio Rodriguez. Welcome aboard, my friend.
That was the first round. In round number 2, J-Rod took on 2-time champion Pete Alonso.
All right, that first swing doesn't result, and the second one is down the line, and it's just hooked foul. And now he's on the board. And remember, that first round, when he hit one, he tended to hit him in bunches.
Every home run he hit in the first round was to the pull side. Julio keeps that right elbow tight to his body, a little Joe Morgan style early on, just pumping it twice before the pitch is delivered. This one going straight away.
Still at 30, he's got one more chance. At the buzzer, will that one count? No, because it didn't get out. What a number for Julio Rodriguez.
So that was the second round. It is on to the finals, where J-Rod hit 18 more home runs.
There it is.
Yeah, that's a great start for Julio Rodriguez.
As watch where the catcher wants the baseball, and watch what Franmy has been able to do. Doesn't pick up the leg at all. Has been consistent the entire contest for Julio, and Julio's done the rest of the damage.
And he's doing a lot of damage early. There's another one. The pitch is in the same spot. The ball leaves the building the same spot. High, majestic shots off the bat of Julio Rodriguez.
That'll work.
15.
Oh, he's getting on a streak now. This is what he did in the last few rounds. Once he starts in that groove, gets that ball out in front and just does not miss right there. That one won't make it.
Now that one should. He's got 17. If that leaves, it's 18. That may be 19. Clock ends.
18.
So the number has been posted for Julio Rodriguez, and you want to clap for what he did tonight in his first home run derby. What a show from the rookie for Seattle.
I got tired just watching it, but it was all said and done. Washington Nationals outfielder Juan Soto wins the derby and $1 million.
Tied at 18, and another one to center.
I think he did it. I think he went to 19. I really believe. If not, this is 20, as a matter of fact.
He keeps going. He's down on a knee. He's got it. Bat is flipped sky high. And Juan Soto is your 2022 Home Run Derby champion. And he wanted to be darn sure of it.
So it's a done deal, and now it's time for the Midsummer Classic. Julio Rodriguez and Ty France representing the Seattle Mariners on the American League squad. It's the American League, the National League, Dodger Stadium. 5 o'clock. You can watch the game on Fox or not. It is a free country. The Wenatchee Apple Sox are back at it in the West Coast Conference Summer Collegiate Baseball season. They're hosting the Kamloops North Paws. 3-game series begins tonight at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. Apple Sox are 17-19 overall. They're 5-4 in the second half. Kamloops comes in at 17-16. They're 4-6 in the second half. First pitch 6:35. You can hear the action with our good buddy Joel Norman on Sunny FM. 3 games across the West Coast League last night. To the Les Schwab scoreboard we go. Tyler Quinn hit a 3-run double in the 8th, and that provided an RBI base hit in the 9th. Corvallis comes from behind to beat Portland 8-3. Yakima Valley's Chris Grothuse struck out 8 over 6 innings. The Pippins shut out Nanaimo 8-0. Kamloops comes to town after a 3-1 win over Port Angeles last night in Western Washington. So here we go. Let's take a look at the standings, by the way. Updated standings for the second half of the season. Wenatchee has a half-game lead over Kelowna and Victoria. Edmonton is a game back. Kamloops comes into the series in Wenatchee, trailing the Apple Sox by a game and a half, but it does have the season edge if it comes down to a tiebreaker. We hope it doesn't. Besides Wenatchee and Kamloops tonight, the schedule has Springfield at Walla Walla. Kelowna hosts Edmonton. Cowlitz is at Corvallis. Nanaimo takes on Yakima Valley. Ridgefield visits Bend, and Bellingham travels to Victoria. All the games tonight. First pitch, 6:35. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Tuesday, the 19th day of July. On a hot summer day, is there a more refreshing drink than a daiquiri? And that is today's obscure holiday. Is National Daiquiri Day, named after the local mining village in Daiquiri, Cuba. Way back in 1898, the local miners, after getting out of work, it was still Cuba and it was still summer, they would love a nice, sweet, cold daiquiri, and they did. Now, there's all kinds of different varieties of daiquiris. There's dozens and dozens of different kinds of daiquiris. Strawberry is probably still the most popular. That's a strawberry daiquiri. And, of course, we get to thank Ernest Hemingway for inventing the frozen daiquiri at his favorite bar in Havana, Cuba. Back in the 1940s, he had the bartender make him a daiquiri and then dump the whole thing in a blender, throw in some ice, and zzz, thus was born the frozen daiquiri. Cheerio! Have a daiquiri. I'm not a big daiquiri fan. Just not. But some people love it. And to them, enjoy. National Daiquiri Day today. It's 24 minutes after the hour. Today in history. In the summer of 1961, there was a lot of people who did not want either Mickey Mantle or Roger Maris to break Babe Ruth's single-season home run record, one of the most iconic records in all of sports, much less baseball. Babe's famous 60 home runs in 1927. And Ford Frick on this date in 1961, when it looked pretty good that either Roger Maris or Mickey Mantle, or perhaps both, would break Babe Ruth's record of 60 home runs in a season. Ford Frick, an old friend of Babe Ruth, who also happened to be the commissioner of baseball, simply ruled by decree that if they wanted to break Babe Ruth's single-season home run record, they had to do it in 154 games or less, because that's how many Major League Baseball games were played in the 1927 season. In 1961, in the American League, they played 162 games. It was an absolute crime. A season's a season. Only the Babe Ruth record would get special recognition. Like there's other records that could be broken between 154 and 162. Made no sense. It's still a myth that there was an asterisk next to Roger Maris's name. Ford Frick, an old friend of the Babe, said, if you want to break my buddy's record, you got to do it in 154 or less. Not one of Ford Frick's better moments, and he was a pretty good commissioner. You blew that one, Ford. Sorry. 53 years ago today, U.S. Senator Ted Kennedy from Massachusetts drives his car into a tidal pool in Chappaquiddick Island, Massachusetts. His passenger, Mary Jo Kopechne, drowned. Pretty much ruined his political career. Well, his career for the presidency. He was reelected over and over and over again into the Senate from Massachusetts until his death. Happened about 11:30 at night. Her body was not found until a diver found her body at 9 o'clock the next morning. Ted Kennedy didn't report the accident until 10 o'clock the following morning. For the most part, that pretty much destroyed his political career. He was thinking about running for president in 1972. He didn't. 76 was probably his best chance, but Chappaquiddick hung over his head. Ted Kennedy drives into the tidal pool in Chappaquiddick 53 years ago today. And United Airlines Flight 232, I remember this in the summer of 1989, crashes in Sioux City, Iowa, one of the very few plane crashes that was actually caught on tape. Here's ABC's World News tonight.
Safety investigators began surveying the wreckage strewn around the Sioux City airport, but in this case they have pictures of the actual crash to study. The DC-10 struck the runway at an angle, shearing off the right wing. It bounced along before flipping over twice, breaking into several large pieces. Aviation sources say the tragic sequence started 30 minutes earlier when the engine in the tail of the jet suffered a catastrophic failure. In essence, the engine exploded, spewing out metal parts. These sheared off the tail cone of the plane, which landed in a field in Storm Lake 70 miles from the crash site. It's believed the flying engine pieces also caused a complete failure of the hydraulic systems by cutting the hydraulic lines near the tail. This made the jumbo jet extremely difficult to control. The plane trailed wreckage for miles. First, the pilot got permission to land on a 2-lane highway near Cushing, Iowa, but he decided not to attempt it. Instead, he chose to make an emergency landing at Sioux City Airport, now 60 miles away. The pilot appeared to maintain control until just before landing. Then the right wing dipped. The jet struck the runway, shearing off that wing and cartwheeling until the jet broke into pieces. Investigators are amazed so many survived.
The wreckage is bad, and I think we can be deeply thankful that those that survived did survive, not at all detracting from the tragic loss of those who lost their lives.
Experts believe the reasons there were so many survivors were that the wing containing the fuel tanks broke off, reducing the fire. The multiple impacts as the plane careened along the runway dissipated the deadly force of any single impact. And perhaps most important, the plane broke open so passengers could easily escape.
People don't normally walk away from plane crashes. Of course, it made the pilot, Al Haynes, a national hero. Afterward, Al Haynes said other factors played a role. For one thing, it was in the daylight and it was good weather. That helped. That helped save lives. Also, they were doing a shift change at the local Sioux City Trauma Center and Hospital, so they had both shifts available to take care of the wounded. And the Iowa National Guard happened to be on duty on this particular day at the airport, and they had 285 personnel who helped rescue the people. And had none of those things happen, Who knows how many people would have died? Remarkable stuff there. Bottom of the hour birthdays. Robert Todd Lincoln Beckwith. Who's this guy? Robert Todd Lincoln Beckwith. Born in the state in 1904. Described himself as a gentleman farmer. He was the great-grandson of Abraham Lincoln. Of course, Abraham Lincoln and his wife, Mary Todd, had 4 sons, but only one, the eldest, Robert Todd Lincoln, actually survived until adulthood. Robert Todd Lincoln and his wife, Mary, had 3 children. The only one of their 3 children to have children was their daughter, Jessie. She had 2 children. Jessie had Mary, who had no children when she died in 1975. And the younger one, Robert Todd Lincoln Beckwith, pictured there, who died without fathering other children himself on Christmas Eve, 1985. So when Robert Todd Lincoln Beckwith died in 1985, without fathering any children of his own, the Lincoln family tree came to an end, the last surviving direct relative of our 16th president. And a happy 100th birthday to Rachel Robinson, the widow of Jackie Robinson. She is 100 years old today, lives very quietly in a farm in Connecticut. Happy 100, Rachel Robinson. She made it to triple digits. That's awesome. 31 minutes after the hour. Going to take a break. Mike Magnotti has an opinion. I know, right? And then my conversation with Skip Moore, the Chelan County Auditor. You got your ballot if you're a registered voter in Chelan County or anywhere for that matter. What do you need to know about Chelan County elections for the August 2nd primary? Skip will give you the details when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hi folks, welcome to Save Mart. How can we help you today?
We're looking for a recliner.
Okay, right this way. Go ahead and move this chase on the other side. You can lift this up.
Great, I want that one. I like that one.
That's a great choice.
And I want this one as well.
Okay.
And I definitely want this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
When the people you serve are your friends and family, you see the world a bit differently. You understand that your survival depends on the health and strength of your relationships. Your word is your reputation, and that doing the right thing is the only way of life that matters. At Confluence Health, we remain humble. Trust is a gift that is earned, a privilege, an honor. And we remain grateful for the trust you place in our hands.
Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, my sister Jean is a retired Methodist minister. I visited with her recently about, just family stuff, and we were discussing modern current issues related to Christianity and the Christian church, and she said something I found interesting. She said she thinks that we are seeing the end of the Christian church. And I mentioned this to my church's new associate pastor, and she said she thinks that what we're seeing is the end of the evangelical church. I think this view has merit in view of the evangelical tendencies to combine their faith with patriotism, which is dangerous, the evangelical condemnation of certain sectors of our population, and the way evangelicals seem to be really eager to declare that those they don't like are going to hell, as if they had the authority to do that. And as for the end of the Church of Jesus Christ, well, let's just say we wait and see what God has to say about that. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
You
you asked, Link listened. Link Transit has rolled out improved services across the region based on what you said you wanted most. Redesigned routes, fewer transfers, more frequent trips, and added destinations. All make riding Link easier than ever. Grab a day pack and hop off at one of the new trailhead stops, or ride further on new services to places like Ski Hill and Sleeping Lady in Leavenworth. More routes running more often to more of the places you want to go. And of course, every ride is free. Find out more at linktransit.com/moving forward.
The new Hummer EV is everything you want in an all-electric vehicle. It's powerful, reliable, comfortable, and will take you anywhere you want to go, on-road or off. Why buy one of those lesser EVs when you can have one that uses them for traction? Order your Hummer pickup or SUV today from Sangster Motors, batteries included.
I'm Brian Thorpe, and I'm proud to say that Global Car Care is growing. We always do the right thing, and because of that, we're busy, and it's time to hire an experienced automotive technician. We spend as much time with our coworkers as we do our own family. I want them to understand they're not a number here. They're a person with a family, and I want them to be part of this family too. Do you want an owner that understands and respects what you do every day? I'm that guy. Our compensation is the best in the area. I want you to have your career with us.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. August 2nd will be here before you know it. The primary election is always the first Tuesday after the first Monday in August. It can't come any earlier than August 2nd. If you don't have this baby in your mailbox, you should by now. And if you don't, call Skip or Thad, his counterpart in Douglas County. They'll take care of you, or at least look into it. Skip Moore, the Chelan County auditor who runs the elections, joining me as he always does this time of the year. Happy election time, Skip.
Yes, it's busy time, and ballots are out there. And yes, if you haven't received your ballot, if you're watching this and haven't received your ballot, give our office a call. We need to get it out to you.
Skip has the sample ballot. It's the PDF. You can go to Skip's website and download it. I have a copy of the sample ballot, but I also have my actual ballot, and I'm going to hold this away so people can't see where I live. This is where it actually will come out with your. This is the outer thing, and inside of it you will have the security sleeve, the envelope, your little Dropbox locations thing, and your actual ballot. So what I want to concentrate as we start out, Skip, is this is the return envelope. So you'll fill out your deal, you put it in here, and then you put it in here. You sign and date it, and the back, and then from this point, what's going on in your office?
Okay, when we get this back, and the important part about one, signing. If it's not signed, I can't accept it. That'll start a process where we'll have to challenge it and contact you and get that corrected. So please, when you got to make sure you sign it. The signature you use when you sign your ballot, use that one that you've got on your driver's license. That's typically the one we had, because when you register, we associate your driver's license to that, and that's how we get the image of your signature. So use that signature, get it, and when we receive this back, there's a unique barcode on the bottom.
Go ahead and just hold that up so people don't know where my place. Here, I'll tell you what. I'll hold it and you talk. How's that?
But that barcode, when it comes back to our office, we scan that in. That barcode does a couple things. It credits you as returning a ballot. It also, in our system on the screen, your electronic signature pops up. That's what we use to verify your signature on the ballot. If those match, we credit you as returning your ballot and as voting, and the ballot moves on. So it's very important, one sign, two. The date is important as well. It's not as important, but we like to have it, because if for some reason you don't have a postmark and you didn't, and it went through the postal system, it may not be postmarked. If it's close to election day or after election day, and we can't read the postmark, we'll default to the date you put on the ballot.
Okay, that's very important.
That's very
important. And we talked about this before, Skip, and he mentioned we just use the Dropbox.
The Dropbox, that's the most secure method of returning a ballot to my office. and it's a guarantee. If that box is unlocked and you're able to get it in there, your ballot will be accepted and counted. If you drop it in the mail on, let's say, Election Day, odds are it will not be postmarked till the day following. At that point, the ballot, I can't accept it because the postmark's too late.
Exactly.
So that's a concern as well.
So you sign, you date, and the reason they ask you to put your phone number down, so if something is cattywampus, they can get a hold of you. It's one thing.
Exactly it.
You know, hey, Bob Smith, we got an issue here, but we can't get a hold of Bob Smith. That doesn't do you any good at all.
And we're working on something in the future. It's not there yet. We'll probably see it within the next year, about this time next year. That phone number, especially if you will have opted into the ability to receive a text message, in the event we have an issue with your ballot, we could send out an automatic text to you as well. And that gets back to time, because if there's an issue with the signature and it's been held up, we're trying to contact the voter, we'll mail them a letter as well, but we got to get that corrected before we certify the election. So time is critical.
And all these things we're talking about, it should be pointed out, it's an extraordinarily rare occurrence. Even when they have an 85, 87% turnout like they did in the 2020 general, the amount of challenged ballots, either a missing signature or whatever, is still very rare.
The number, the percentages are, we're talking down on around 1%, 2%.
And funny story, we've talked about this before, regarding the signature, Skip, and this happened to me. We talked about this. When I registered to vote in 1982, 40 years ago, that was my signature 40 years ago. And you remember what happened? I went into Skip's office and they brought up my voter's registration form from 1982, and my signature from 1982 wasn't the same as it was in 2012. Wasn't even close. So I redid the deal so you had a more current signature.
And our signatures evolve. Especially when we're younger, when we're a little younger, our signature seems to move around a bit. Once we get a little bit more seasoned, it seems to settle down, and then as we even get older again, it starts to migrate again. And a lot of it is we have two signatures. We've got our formal signature, that one that we sit down and we do nicely because we're signing something official. Then we've got that signature that we put on the receipt at the restaurant. If I get that one, odds are it's not going to match the one on file. And then we're going to have to work with getting that correct.
And you guys go out of your way to make sure that happens.
We'll contact, within 24 hours, we're going to be mailing out a card notifying you that we have an issue with your signature, trying to get that solved. As well as we approach certification of the election, the Friday prior to our certification, we'll do a robocall to make sure everybody that still has a challenge ballot out there gets a message from the office saying, hey, we need you to come in and fix this so we can count your ballot. Because we're in the business of counting and accepting, not in the business of rejecting. We want everybody's vote to count.
Your counterpart in Douglas County, Thad Duvall, I asked him this question. This is the longest period between primary and general that can actually legally happen. Again, primary election day is always the first Tuesday after the first Monday in August, which in this case is the 2nd. But the general election day is the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, which in this case is the 8th. You got basically an extra week, essentially. And Thad says that's good.
Anytime we can gain some time in there is important. It becomes a very busy time frame in that. We've been building this ballot since May. When people had finally, we started building the ballot. Well, now we have to take the results of this ballot as people vote, because the top two people are moving forward. That requires us to build a new ballot. Well, the longer we can get between the primary and November to build the ballot, proof it, and all those things that are necessary, and then get this thing in the mail so that people are receiving it, right around 18 to 20 days prior to the election, you can see how this all backs up. A week in there is a wonderful thing.
Even though it's a primary election, there is one local measure, Fire District Number 1 measure, that is going to be decided in the primary election day, and that's the idea of consolidating the Chelan and Douglas County fire districts. That's going to be decided on August 2nd.
That is, well, a lot of things will be decided.
Yeah.
But the main thing is that the voters will only see this proposition once, this time in August. They'll vote on it. The results from this will determine whether or not this new fire district, this regional fire district, comes into existence in September of this year. So this is a very important vote, as well as the ones in the primary, where you're winnowing the field down to 2 votes. And I try to remind people that quite often they'll say, well, the primary doesn't matter. Nobody's going to get elected there. That is basically true. However, if you don't participate in the primary, somebody else is deciding what's on your menu in November. So it's very important to participate so that the candidate that you want a chance to vote for in November even gets through the primary. That's the important part.
People have asked, and the question is completely legitimate. For instance, the heavily watched Chelan County Sheriff's race between Mike Morrison challenging the incumbent Brian Burnett. They're going to be in the November 8th general election. Why are they on the primary ballot to begin with?
Well, that's a unique process in Washington State. We have two classifications of races or offices, partisan and nonpartisan. Partisan office, the rules on all partisan offices are, regardless of the number, there will be a primary. Let's put it that way. If it's a partisan office, there will be a primary. If it's a nonpartisan office, you only have a primary when there's 3 or more candidates, which is why we don't see anything for the PUD.
Or the judgeship, the district court.
Or the judges.
Right. Yep.
On this ballot. You'll see them in November, but you won't see it on this ballot because there's not more than 3.
You're lucky in certain regard that Thad doesn't get to. Thad has to deal with all kinds of overlapping jurisdictions and legislative districts. Really not a big of an issue with you, is it?
No, we've been quite fortunate. Chelan County has always landed wholly inside of a congressional or legislative district. So we don't have that the difficulty of carving out areas, different precincts, and then totally different candidates. When you're in the 8th and the 4th congressionals, it's very confusing for folks. It's confusing for me at times to figure out where that line is. So we've been quite lucky. If you're in Chelan County, you're wholly within the 8th congressional and the 12th legislative. That's the key.
That makes life considerably simpler for you, does it not? Absolutely. Yes. I asked Thad this question. I'll ask you. A couple of weeks ago, the Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled in a 4-3 decision to basically eliminate drop boxes in the state of Wisconsin, and also requiring that people who vote absentee, they themselves must drop their ballot off at the local jurisdiction. They can't have somebody else do it for them. Hey, Bob, I'm on my way there anyway. I'll take your ballot and drop it off. Thad was not particularly pleased with that decision. He thinks it puts up a couple of walls that really aren't necessary to get people to the polls. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it places some hurdles there that aren't necessary. I've always been concerned about just somebody convincing you to I'll drop your ballot off for you. I try to tell people, consider your ballot your mortgage payment. You wouldn't just hand it to anyone on the street and hope that they were good enough to get it in the mail. If you hand your ballot to somebody else for them to drop off, put it in the drop box, what happens if I don't get it? The question is, did we make a mistake? The auditor's office, or did the person you handed your ballot to just decide not to deliver it? That's a concern. You know, if you do it, it's guaranteed, but it's not against the law for somebody else in Washington State to deliver your ballot. I think if somebody has a difficulty getting it in and somebody's willing to help them, that's important. We don't have to. I want voters to realize too, there's not a great concern there about the integrity of that ballot because you've signed the envelope. Since you've signed an envelope and sealed it, that's your vote. It's very similar to put it in the post office.
And there's a tool. You just go online and you look.
Right.
You know, I mean, it will tell you right there, hey, they got your ballot and your ballot has been received and your ballot has been checked off.
Right. On our website, once we receive it, if there's no issues with it, it'll either say it's accepted or challenged. If it's accepted, that means we've received it, we've checked the signature, and we're going to count it. Doesn't mean at that point in time we may have not run it through the system yet completely to scan it, but at least we are going to. If it says challenge, that's the other part. We've got an issue. Either you failed to sign or the signature didn't match. Contact us so we can fix that. If there's no information at all, we don't have it. And that is, typically that's about a 24-hour lag, depending on where we are in the cycle. If you drop it in a drop box on a day prior to a collection date, well, we won't show up on our website until almost 2 days later. So you give us a little bit of room there, but the big thing is check to see that we received it. That way, again, if we find out there's an issue prior to election day and up till 8 o'clock on election night, we know there's an issue, we can solve it. If we find out the day after the election, cutoff is already occurred.
And don't dilly-dally. If you know how you're going to vote on the issues or the candidates, fill out the ballot, do all the things that you're supposed to do, and get it in there, because it makes it simplifies everything. The sooner you vote, the sooner you get your ballot in, the easier it is for everybody, correct?
Well, there's a process. We discussed earlier. We receive it. We have to scan it in. We have to account for it. We have to scan it in. We have to check the signature. That's just the beginning part. Once we've checked the signature, then we've got to separate the security sleeve from the envelope and get those apart. Then we got to get the ballot out, and we have to check it to make sure there's no difficulty with it being scanned. Then we have to scan it. This all takes time. And I try to remind folks, on election night, the results that we produce on election night are the ballots that we have received the day prior to up until the day prior to the election. If everybody were to wait till the day of or the day prior to the election and drop their ballot off, we have no results on election night. So if you know what you're doing, if you know what your choices are, please, the sooner the better. Plus, if there's issues, it gives us the opportunity to solve it. If we push it back to election day and then we run into issues, we may not be able to, one, get you a ballot, two, accept it, or get it into the mix. That's the key.
A couple more questions for Skip, and then we'll cut them loose. It should be pointed out that this state, and Skip and his 38 partners that make up the county auditors, this state is the gold standard for election integrity. No state does it better than this state. I mean, you guys are it. In fact, other jurisdictions in other states have reached out to you guys to know, how do you do it? How come you're so accurate and the integrity is unquestioned in my mind?
Well, we've worked on it. We all remember Gregor Rossi. We remember that. That was something that we sat down as a state and all the auditors across the state, and the key there was getting down to how do we make this tighter, and that part of it was the reconciliation. At the end of the day, you can come into my office, and any office, elections office in Washington State, we can show you the election. We can rebuild it. We have paper, everything. There's nothing electronic. We can show you. Here's the number of envelopes we accepted. Here's the number of ballots we counted. If they don't match, there's an issue. But we've worked through the process on that accountability and the integrity in the process. We match. Occasionally we're one off here and there, and that's a voter puts 2 ballots in one envelope, or a voter forgets to put the ballot in the envelope. But by and large, we match down to the numbers. And then that way we can show you. Here we go. Credited envelopes, counted ballots. They balance out. It's important.
A couple of quick things I want to throw your way before we cut Skip loose. July 25th is the deadline if you've never registered to vote. July 25th is the deadline to register online. After July 25th, you have to go down to Skip's office or your local auditor's office and register in person, and that makes you eligible to vote from that point forward. I just wanted to point that out. Let's finish up with our traditional predictions of turnouts. I went back and looked at your previous appearances on this show. You have a pretty good batting average, Skip. You and Thad both, as a matter of fact. We're just going to use primary election numbers from the previous couple of primary years. We're not doing off-year elections or presidential. Well, we are presidential, but this is just primary, not general election. Yes. 2018, not a lot to decide. Primary election, 45% turnout in Chelan County. The primary election of 2 years ago, August of 2 years ago, 60% turnout. Your prediction for the 2022 August 2nd primary turnout-wise?
I'm expecting 70%. That's what I'm thinking. There's a lot of engagement across the board, and I think people in the Wenatchee issue, the fire district issue, I think that will drive turnout too. And that's, the whole fire district ones are rather large jurisdiction in the county. So I think the fire district issue, as well as people are engaged. We've seen this is an engagement in politics or civic duties and voting that's carried on, I think, since the 20 election. So I think we're going to get close to 70%. Elections matter. Primaries matter.
Voting matters.
Voting matters. That's
absolutely. Right. Skip, it's always good to see you, my friend. I know you're a busy guy. Best of luck. And the folks of Chelan County should know that Skip and his counterpart on the other side of the river, Thad Duvall, have great staffs. These people are absolute pros. Any questions, just give them a call. That's what they're there for.
Our job is to allow people to vote.
It's as simple as that.
And that's what we want to happen.
Yep. Skip Moore, Chelan County Auditor, on this edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Happy voting, folks, and we'll be right back.
Can be a crazy place. Uh-oh! That's why Les Schwab Tires fixes brakes, steering, and more. And those guys don't. Keep driving. I'm just glad Les Schwab puts my safety first, so I can backseat drive with confidence.
Help maximize your mileage with a free safety check. Just swing by. Les Schwab Tires, celebrating 70 years of doing the right thing.
As AmeriCorps members and volunteers, we do more than talk about our core values. We take action and commit to making our community stronger.
At AmeriCorps, my commitment to equity gives every student a strong start.
Our compassion brings food and friendship to neighbors in need.
My determination protects sparks in my community.
Now more than ever, your community needs you. What's at your core? Learn more at AmeriCorps.gov.
Introducing Alpine Air Man. Because every home needs a superhero to eliminate poor indoor air quality, send inefficient operating equipment packing, and cut high energy bills down to size. For heating or cooling and equipment replacement, turn to the experts and the superheroes at Carrier and Alpine Air. We offer the best deals on high-efficiency Carrier products, along with friendly, knowledgeable service and incredible savings to fit your budget.
With all the variety on SureStream TV from Localtel, there's always something to watch. But what if you hit the couch in the middle of all the shows? That's a perfect time to use the features Ketchup or Restart. Catch up on shows from up to 3 days ago, or restart your show from the beginning. Go to your guide and select the show to restart. Then play, pause, rewind on your schedule. Don't forget, SureStream TV from Localtel lets you decide when shows begin.
And we are back. It was 64 degrees when this show began about an hour ago. Here it is up against the 8 a.m. hour, and we're up to 66 degrees and going to be warmer still. Now, we only hit 85 yesterday, which is actually 4 degrees below normal. And yesterday was about as perfect as a summertime day as you can imagine, sunny and warm, but not hot. Well, what's your definition of hot? Because it's going to start cooking up here a little bit. There's a huge ridge of high pressure over the Pacific Northwest, right off the Pacific Ocean. And then there's a couple more high-pressure ridges slightly below us, and they're all kind of combining together. There's no inclement weather anywhere to be had outside of a weak cold front that's going to come in tomorrow night, which is going to pick up our breezes a little bit, but really not too much for the Wenatchee Valley. Columbia Basin, that's another story altogether. From the National Weather Service, it looks something like this. Sunshine, you want it, you got it. High of 94. Again, we hit 85 yesterday, so this is the warm-up we're talking about. 64 for the overnight low tonight. Now, a little breezy at times tonight, but really not too bad. The Columbia Basin could see some slightly stronger winds than we're going to have here in the Wenatchee Valley. And, of course, we're also talking about low relative humidity. So, yeah, keep your fingers crossed. Up to 97 we go, and then right around that 94, 93, 94 mark, until we get right on into Sunday and Monday, and then we're going to be cooking up to near 100 for the Valley. And that is it for us. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.